Hi, everybody. Welcome for another session that we are, we are here today. Another session in the Kenya Home Diaspora, Kenya Home Ownership Summit. I keep getting that wrong every time. But today we actually have a great expert with you also on land who's going to be talking to you about just how to choose a good piece of land, how to make sure that you're making the best investment. We have some great places to invest in land in Kenya at the moment. And yeah, just sharing tips and tricks from the trade. We have with us Joan Munga of PRC. Yeah, and actually I'm going to tell you a bit about Joan. She's the diaspora manager for PRC, and she's got an experience of about 10 years in business development and management. And she says the better part of the time spent is related to direct sales and in investment, widely financed. And since 2014, she's been in the real estate market. And her background is really in real estate, started at a tender age of 8 years, learning from her late father. Yeah, so Joan.
Yes.
Do you want to say hi?
Thank you. Hi, people. Thank you so much for having me in this forum. I hope you enjoy yourselves, and I would be looking forward to your questions as we proceed.
Wonderful. Yes, and so Joan, by the way, this is a recorded session, so I'm actually going to be putting the questions to you that I know people have been asking. For example, people like investing that like to know, is it a good idea at the moment to invest in counties? What's some ways in which they can know that they're making the best investment and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to be putting the questions to you, and we'll be able to share with the summit attendees. And if any questions come up based on your session, feel free to always check back and answer. We're inviting people just to to put down their questions, and if they have any specific ones for you to say, this is for Joan Munga, and yeah. So thanks for taking the time, Joan. We appreciate that. We're going to take about.
Thank you. For giving me the opportunity as well.
Absolutely, you're most welcome. So we're going to take about 30 to 40 minutes. And we're just going to start off by saying, okay, so tell me, Joan, what's so good about at the moment, about investing in land in Kenya at the moment?
Currently, real estate in Kenya has actually just been growing exponentially. Reason being, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of infrastructure since the previous government that was there. So road networks have actually improved. That appreciates the price of land. I'll give a good example of what has happened on land along Thika Road superhighway. People who bought land there before the superhighway came in, they bought it for as little as almost 100,000. Right now, you're coughing about 1.8 million. Reason being, there's infrastructure that influences a lot on what somebody wants to do when they're buying a property. Somebody wants to know, is there a hospital? Is there transportation? Are there schools there? Can I access the government facilities that I need to access? So that basically influences a buyer from investing in a particular area. If, let's say, for instance, the projection for improvement or infrastructure coming is in the next 10, 20 years, then there's actually hope that your land will basically appreciate. You might buy land in a place where somebody is telling you the bypass is coming through this land, and it might sound very weird because you're only seeing zebras and antelopes, but truth be told, when it comes, your land will definitely appreciate. So it's a matter of how much patience do you have, you as a land buyer. And if you don't have the patience, then you can buy in areas where already development has already started coming in, and the prices are not too pricey, they're in the middle level. So you can be able to pay that. And the beauty of it, you don't have to really strain yourself as a buyer or as an investor. You can have financial... What I would say is you can use financing from other resources wherever you would be. Maybe it's a circle or anything. Then you can invest slowly by slowly. But in those 5 years, then your land is actually appreciated and it is yours fully.
Wonderful. No, that's those are great tips. And I think one thing that I might probably also do for us is help us just lay out what are ways that you yourselves, as you go out and get the land, that you make sure that this land is going to be a good piece of land for people to invest in, as well as securing the investment of the people, and securing the investments of the people that will come and eventually invest in the land. So what do you do? What's your due diligence? And just
our due diligence.
So just start from there, probably.
Okay, so my take would be, you would be looking at land where there's growth, and growth is in terms of development. What the government is actually trying to do in that particular area in the future, and also connect it to the Vision 2030. And then again, considering Kenya, that's where I am from. We have already devolved the government, so we've gone into counties. So you need to know, am I buying within a place where there's potential for growth, whether it's for business or it's for own personal growth? Then you have to look at it in your own way. What do I want to achieve with this property? Do I want to develop real estate developments? Do I want to collect rent from this property? Do I want to be farming this property? Is it agribusiness? How far is it to the nearest train station? How far is it to the nearest bus station, airport? All the means of transport that you would require. And in case if you'll have to settle your family in that particular county, then the hospitals, you'll have to see how close am I to those hospitals? How close am I to the schools? Or are you coming in as an investor and setting up a place where you're going to start from scratch and build a community on your own? Mm-hmm. So that you have to look at it from that end. And then if you're doing that, then you have to see the future and also convince the people that you would want to invest with you that this is what it would look like in the future. If you look at it, I'll give an example of Dubai. Dubai seems to be, it's mostly sandy, but it is one city that everybody wants to travel to. But it is a city built on sand. If the people did not see the future of that, or they did not carry what their visions were, we would not be wishing to go to Dubai, because it's typically a desert. So you have to see the future. You have to actualize that picture and see what it is, what it can do for you as a property that is raw and unproduced. Mm-hmm. That has not even been developed. Unproduced right now, I mean developed. Nothing has been developed on that place. Even the roads that I'm talking about, probably there's no access. You'll have to use a 4x4 car so that you can be able to access the place. You have to actually visualize it in that sense, because all investments have to make sense. Normally, some are short-term, some are future, some are even long-term. Mm-hmm. In the short term is what you want to do, maybe like an agribusiness project. You're setting up a greenhouse on your property and it will give you returns in the next 6 to 8 months, or actually within a year, you're making some returns. In the long term, you're seeing the future. If I develop an estate here, there's nobody living here, then I'll have to bring in the security. I have to bring in the people to actually see the future. And I'll give you a good example. If you look at a place like Nanyuki right now, on your way in Nanyuki, sometimes part of that property is so not developed because of what people fear. They fear that there has been a lot of fighting, the communities there are fighting because of cattle and everything during this drought season. But what do you see in the future? Because the system that has already devolved is actually devolving to a point where we're not depending on the national government. You're depending on the county government to grow the area. So definitely the teething problems will be there, but they will change it with time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, basically that's my answer to that. And when you think about land, think about your future projections.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay. By the way, sorry, can you just ask your question? Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks, Joan, for that. For that insight. I think it's always useful to hear from different people their take on investment. So maybe just to move on to the next question is, what is the best way to get started, in your opinion, when one wants to invest in land? What's the best way to get started?
I'd look at a place where already there's a bit of development. Sometimes when you start and you're starting in a place where there's no development, it's a hassle for you, because if you want quick cash, you cannot sell off your land that fast. It could be, I'll give you a good example, like when you're within Nairobi and its environs, you're looking at Kiambu County, and then there's Kajiado County. Those two counties are close to Nairobi. You could buy some a bit further from there, but at least there's a bit of development. So trying to get rid of the land or getting access of finances from a bank is much easier than if you moved, like, let's just say, for instance, further from there, you're going towards past up country, Eldoret, Nakuru, those places. They'll have to come and do a valuation of your property.
Yes.
And if it's not valued at the amount you want, then that hinders you. And then also taking the process of you just selling it to an individual is also a hassle as well. So you have to look at places where the development is coming. In the long run, you may take 12 months to pay off the property, but it is yours and it's in a developed area.
Okay. No, that's great to know. I think it's always good to hear what are some of the best ways in which one can actually choose property. A lot of people want to do in the counties, but there's also considerations when it comes to that.
There's also consideration. So when you talk about counties, you look at the towns that are actually growing within the counties. Yes, so that you're not so far off from development as well. Not unless you're looking at getaway homes. Getaway homes don't have to necessarily be within a developed area, because people want to get away from the busyness of the central business district. So getaway homes is a nice place. You're far from town, then that would be okay. But if you're looking at a property that you want to cash in, or you would want to develop much faster, closer to development would be nice.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, I know that it's possible that sometimes people have this, there's this idea that, counties, it's developing, but then even when you're looking at counties, it's a good idea, like to say, look at the ones where there's development and that kind of thing. So if you had one secret to give about real estate or just investment in land, what would that secret be?
What secret? Invest smart when the prices are low. Invest when somebody is telling you this road is actually mapped to pass here. You cannot see the road, you cannot see the future, but it will definitely pass through there. Because once that happens, then you can see how growth actually expands. Because if you look at people like in the coast people don't have to really push their property. Anybody wants to own land along the beach line. You see, but if I'm trying to tell you the future, the train is going to pass somewhere here, and there's going to be a road coming down and an airport coming up in the next maybe 15 years, it seems so far-fetched that I probably may not live that long. It's only human for you to think that way. When you try and think, in 15 years, will I want to be in that place? But think about it this way: it's going to come. It may take time, but you will cash in on it. I'll give you another example. There's a small town just within Kiambu County. It's called Ruaka. Has just grown exponentially. Ruaka, with the last, I'll tell you for free, 2009, property along the town area was about 600,000. Right now, even 10 million you cannot buy. You're talking about 30 million going upwards, just because of the infrastructure that has actually come there. And then I don't know if you've heard of this, there's a Two Rivers Mall that has just been developed right next to Ruaka town. So the land appreciation in that area, if somebody told you to just buy this plot of mine, you would have not thought about it that way. But right now, people are cashing in on Ruaka, on property that you would not have even thought about it, because the two sides of that small town actually is hilly. It's hilly on one side because it goes down to the river and down to the river on the other side. So you have to actually picture and visualize and see that this can actually come to be a place where I will cash in from. And then also investments are for the future. We're not investing for ourselves, because if you're investing for yourself, sometimes you may not even live long enough to have it, to enjoy it, but you're investing for the future. I don't know the kind of people that you have there, but we've been told to live inheritance up to the fourth generation. So if you're living for today, then that basically means you don't care what the next generation will bring in or will have, or in terms of their growth. That's the basic idea of investment. Why would you invest if you have enough? If you're making enough to eat and drink and have some clothes, why would you even go out there and think of buying property? You're investing because of the future, and the future is not basically you, because you'll be too, you'll not be old enough. You as you grow older, their strength reduces. So it's those people you're going to come after you are investing for.
Well, that's a great, that's a great tip, I guess, to people. For me, I must admit that my view of investment is that I am doing it for now and for later. Like, I don't believe, no, seriously, like, I think personally, when I look at investment, I'm like, I don't see why my investment can't actually give me back now. Case in point, I buy a ready-made apartment, and I can already start to live in it or start to rent it out long-term or short-term. So I hear you. There's people just have to actually think about why they're investing and what really their focus is. Because obviously, if I'm investing to get the returns now, then I actually have to be very shrewd about it. I can invest in land, but I must know that within a year I have that land developed and I have that land earning an income for me, or I have that land earning an agricultural return. I've leased it out as agricultural land and it's bringing back returns. So I hear you. A lot of times, to be honest, I want to put money in something that will bring back to me, and it doesn't have to be like tomorrow. But I definitely know within a year I want to see something is actually giving me back a return. And then the thing about it is, if it's giving me back a return, it means I can actually invest more and more and more, and actually increase my portfolio. And in that way, it snowballs. That's a snowball effect. So it's it's something that it's a good point you raise, and for people thinking about it, it actually, it's food for thought.
Yes, and I agree with you. I agree with you because it's true. Everybody wants to live the best, I want to invest here and I want to get the returns as soon as I can. But patience also has to be in that. You have to give it patience, because you can't say you try today and then how many times do you have to try something for you to be perfect at it? Sometimes it has to be 13 times. Sometimes it has to be 100 times. Some people even tried over 1,000 times and failed at it to become perfect at it. And I'll give a good example. For a good musician to be very good and well known and within the international realms, they practice and practice and practice again. Sometimes they will even fumble on their notes. But with investment, you want to invest today and tomorrow you harvest. Patience has also to be included in that as well.
Yes, and that's a good point. I think I appreciate what you're saying. One thing I also realize as well is when it comes to, and this is why we put the summit together. In fact, it's a good point you raise, because we put the summit together so that people don't have to try and fail. Because when you try and fail in investment, especially in land purchase or property purchase, it's a very expensive one. So you want to actually learn as much from the experience of the people who've gone before you. So I want to learn from your experience. I want to learn from the experience of someone who's been in property for over 16 years. They've been appraising property. I want to learn from someone who's been selling land for over 18 years. I want to learn from, I basically want to learn. So take all that knowledge and put it together and intake it. And therefore, then my decisions are much better. And I don't know, maybe other people make decisions in a different way. I myself make decisions by really just over learning something. I really just immerse myself in something. When it came to time to learn about land and investment, you should actually see my Kindle library. I bought every single book I could find on real estate investment. Unfortunately, there was none in the Kenyan market. Actually, there was one Kindle book in the Kenyan market, more about the legal process. But there's lots of books in Canada, there's lots of books in the US about real estate. So I was able to take all that in. Then I realized, actually, why is there that gap in Kenya? There's that gap of just the knowledge where people come and share the knowledge of what they have. And so a really big reason why I put this summit together, so that you're not making those expensive mistakes. You're like, no. I want to skip the mistakes. I want to get to the part where I'm an expert at doing it. And maybe other people learn differently. It's about also the way that I learn. Maybe other people learn differently, but nobody is going to say no to information that will actually put them ahead of everyone else. Strategies, tennis players will get coaches because the coaches have experience to give them the best strategy. So just cut to the chase. Just go there and get successful quicker than if you are going it alone. So I think it's been a good discussion, really, Joan. Thanks so much for your input. And maybe any parting shots that you might have, that anything that you want to share with someone who's thinking of getting into real estate or even property land investment.
Okay, if you're planning to get into real estate within the country and you're outside the country, I would actually advocate, don't deal with individuals, deal with real estate companies, and also do a background check on them. Because there are companies that have been established by individuals and probably they're not as stable. You need to do their background check and find out, are these people stable? How long have they been there? Have they handled such big business? Can they handle my business? Whether big or small, you have to think like that. Like you're saying, you go into the books and read and read and read. Don't take too little time trying to find out information about that particular person who's telling you my real estate company will deliver, and then you just believe what they say, but you don't dig into it. I think you dig into it gives you information and insight, and also you can weigh your options, because if you have two good people offering you the best within the country, then you can just choose because you want to go with that. Let's say, for instance, if you're buying what would I say? I want to give an example in food products, but I also don't want to sound like I'm mentioning a company as well. But let's just say,
give an example.
If you're buying right? If you're buying a burger,
okay.
No, in land. Okay, fine. If you're buying land, and we're two real estate companies, we're offering you land in the same place. You have to also just be smart enough to know, what do I want to come to me? Is it service delivery? Is it because I like them, or I basically like the relationship manager who handled my case? You have to go into the background and find out, is there extra in it? Or am I just buying? Maybe some people will tell you, for instance, okay, fine, if you buy land, we have ready titles, but you find the titles don't come in the shortest time possible. They'll take forever. And then some people will tell you, we have this ready and this ready. You go to the property and you can see there's development and there's infrastructure being put in there. Where do you want to invest? So you invest with the people that you have really done a background research on and you trust. And sometimes you will have information, like for now, you'll be influenced by maybe a family or a relative, but also try and find out for yourself. You may not have all the time, but every 2 minutes or 3 minutes of time that you can spare, try and find out, are they true? Are they real in what they're saying? Are they even genuine in what they're saying? That's what I would want to say. That's my parting shot for now.
Okay, well, thank you, Joan. I appreciate that insight. And for everyone, of course, I mean, it's great to know all the tips that you provided. Maybe you can tell us a little bit. I don't think you said much about PRC. Probably you can just tell us how long you've been in operation, what you actually do, and then we can call it a day.
Okay, so PRC has been around for about 7 years. We are tapping into our 8th year. And then started by an individual, our CEO, who's Brian Gashari, and has grown to a company of about 100 people. And our basic concept is to sell genuine, affordable property. Genuine in the sense that in the history of land buying in the country, you'd find people buying land from individuals, or even people who claim that they are real estate companies, and you'd find that piece of land that you bought is owned by 10 other people. The title deed you own is owned by 10 other people. So you can't develop, you can't sell, you can't do anything, and your water went down the drain, and there's nothing else you can do about it, because probably even the person who sold it to you, you have no access to them. So that is where PRC comes in. PRC comes in to give you genuine property, affordable. We make it as affordable as possible because we've realized there's a group of people who would want to own this land, but they don't have the financial capacity to put in the full amount. So we make it affordable by giving them flexible payment plans. Also partnering with financial institutions that will give them an opportunity to stretch out the payment plan for longer than we could, because remember, this is land and you need your title deeds, you need to develop and everything else. So as PRC, our basic stand is very genuine, affordable property. And also if you log on to our website, you're able to see what is available in terms of property, what has been sold before in the past, and what is currently in the market.
Okay, wonderful. And for anyone who's actually wanting more information, we've put a link below that you can actually use to click and put in your email and put in your question that Joan will get directly from us. So great. Thank you, Joan, so much. Thanks for the time. And yeah, have a great rest of the day. We'll say bye to everybody now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.